Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another movie review. Today we're going to be looking at Five Nights at Freddy's. I went and watched it last night, and this video is going to encompass basically my general idea of what was going to happen in the movie versus what actually happened in the movie, and my thoughts on what they did right, what they did wrong. The cinematography, the audio, that kind of thing. Before we hop into the video and the actual thoughts I have on the movie, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as well as I'm going to give a spoiler warning, and I'm not a Fnaf fan, okay? I know very, my knowledge on the lore of Fnaf is limited. And limited is giving it a little too much credit. I know enough to skirt by, mainly because I really enjoy game theory, so I put on his YouTube in the background. So I know some things about FNAF lore, but I would not by any means call myself an expert or anything like that. So if I get anything wrong, be sure to correct me down in the comments, but nicely, of course. And I guess we can just jump right into the video. All right, starting off, we're gonna start off swinging, right? So what I know of the FNAF lore is William Afton created the Five Nights at Freddy's, or the Freddy's Pizzeria, and had two children. He had a son named Mike. That could be speculation, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure his name was Mike. And then he had a daughter, right? And then they had another youngest son, but he died, right? Which kind of made William go crazy, and then he started killing children and putting their bodies into the suits of the animatronics and stuff to hide them. And then they eventually possessed the bodies of the suits, like the children possessed the suits themselves. And then, some more crazy stuff happens, but that's like the general knowledge that I have of FNAF. What I thought this movie was going to be going into it was just kind of a brief run through the beginnings of the games. If I remember correctly, the first two games you play as Michael, and he is William's eldest son, or you'll eventually find out that he's William's eldest son. But in this movie, they changed enough for me to not to be fair, I didn't know very much to begin with, but for me to be what is actually going on here, because I don't fully understand. Not in a way that it was confusing, but in a way where I was enjoying the mystery of it. But to get back to my original point, what I thought the story was going to be is, Mike and his sister, because he lives with his sister, Mike and his sister, eventually get this job through later on find out that was William Afton, because the trailer's kind of spoiled that for me, but you find out that was William Afton, and then you find out that Mike is the son of William Afton, and the story progresses from there. I was completely caught off guard in the fact that they cut that out completely. They did not. Mike was not his son. In fact, the police officer lady, Vanessa, who my only knowledge of is the TikTok memes of just Freddy going, "Vanessa.
Freddy, you're supposed to be on lockdown."
"Vanessa, go cry about it, bitch."
That is the extent of the lore that I know of her. I know literally nothing about her or her character or anything. It makes me, as somebody who knows very little about the original lore, feel really included in this, in the fact that they seemed to have included enough of the original story to make people who are hardcore fans enjoy it, and people who know nothing about it also enjoy it because it was just kind of a newer story, and there weren't nuances that you had to know in order to understand what was going on. I could really appreciate that as somebody who's going in basically completely blind. I think that the actors and actresses in this movie also just genuinely did a great job. You can never go wrong with Matthew Lillard. He will forever have a special place in my heart. I love that guy. He's great. He brought the same chaotic energy that he brought when he played Ghostface in Scream, and I loved that. That was great. The ending with the whole knives, like he cleans off the knife the same way Ghostface does. That was great. As a horror fan, I could appreciate the nods to horror and the fact that there were so many nods. It was awesome. I also had no idea that this was a Blumhouse production film. None at all. I was really underprepared for this movie. Knowing that it was a Blumhouse production and knowing that Matthew Lillard was in it and everything, it just had so many cards in its hand that it genuinely surprises me that critics were so critical about it. And I think they were so critical about it because they didn't understand. Honestly, at this point, I don't think movie critics understand what a good movie is. Like, let's be real here. I think with the mention of the horror movies, we can move on to my next section of the video that I'd like to talk about, which is, did I think this movie was scary? Not at all. I didn't find it scary at all. I thought it was extremely entertaining, but on a 1 to 10 scale of scare, probably a solid 2. Like, even the jump scares weren't jumpy. Like, I was expecting more, especially when I found out it was from Blumhouse. I was genuinely expecting it to be a darker, scarier version of the story, which is saying something because if you know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's, it is already an extremely dark and scary story. My girlfriend, on the other hand, got jump scared like 3 times. It was great. That was entertaining. For me personally, a veteran of scares and stuff, even though I'm a baby bitch boy when it comes to them, it didn't affect me really at all. I'd have to say the one animatronic that genuinely felt like it cut and paste from the game when it came to its scares was Foxy. They did such a good job with Foxy. I really enjoyed the hallway. There was 2 hallway scenes where they like charged towards the person who's running from them. It was great. I also liked how brutal this movie got. I was not, especially because it's a PG-13 movie, and with the first like quarter to half of the movie being the way it was, I was highly suspecting that it was going to be just kind of a bland PG-13 movie that didn't have a lot of like horror flavoring in it. I was wrong. I was very wrong. They mutilated people in this movie. I'm surprised with how brutal some of the mutilation was that they were able to skirt by with a PG-13 rating. I'm happy about it. It allows more people to watch it. It allows more people to be exposed to truly good effects. But I was not expecting them to literally bifurcate somebody. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. That sounds, taken out of context, that sounds really bad now that I think about it, but it was still really cool. And I think how they were able to get away with it is the fact that the bifurcation was done kind of off screen. Like it was done through shadow work and seeing only half of the body from like you saw the legs from the feet perspective. So there was a lot of gruesome moments, but there wasn't a lot of blood, which is, I think, how they were able to get away with that. And I gotta give credit where credit's due. I know I say that a lot. It's just something that I do. But they did a phenomenal job with the practical gore effects. Going back a little bit onto the plot, but including the scary aspect, I guess, I found it fascinating how much they delved deep into the lore that is dreams and dream walking and stuff. I was half expecting them to give some credit to Wes Craven, but just the sheer amount of effort they put into the story, you could tell that the people who were behind the movie was doing such a good job. They did their research. They did their due diligence at portraying a new story with inspiration from the material that they were getting their story from. Especially with the fact that it was a scary game turned movie. I was full on expecting it to be really bad. I'm gonna be honest. I was expecting it to be awful, but it wasn't. I really enjoyed it. Also, Matt Pat being in there was great. I loved that. That was awesome. That entire scene, the fact that he was able to say his iconic "it's just a theory" line, brilliant. Brilliant marketing. Even though there was no marketing involved with that specific scene. It's still funny. But I think I'm gonna move on to the last part of this video, review, whatever you want to call it, and that being my conclusion and score. So I feel like I have to do this every other video just to make sure that you guys understand my scoring. If it's above a 5, I'm willing to watch it again, and if it's a 10, it's a masterpiece. You can't beat that. I'm gonna give this movie a solid 7.5. It wasn't entertaining enough for me to really say I would watch it over and over and over again, but it wasn't a bad movie. I really enjoyed the fact that they were able to make a movie for a wider audience with an extremely niche fandom. I think they did a phenomenal job doing that. I think that credit is highly due. And the acting was amazing. You can't go wrong with Ghostface, PETA, and a small child. Like, it's gonna be a good movie no matter what. But I don't really have very much else to add. Like I said, I don't know too much about the FNAF lore. If there's anything that you want me to know, and maybe I can make another video after like doing some more research, just let me know in the comments below. If there's another movie you want me to watch or do a review of, or even a game, I could do a review of a game or do a live stream of one of the FNAF games if you guys like. Let me know in the comments below, and I think I'm gonna leave it there. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.